Welcome to Master Mind Meld. 5 contestants will compete for the coveted bragging rights to knowing the most about Star Trek. Each will have to answer questions on general Star Trek knowledge as well as their specialist chosen subject. Only 2 will go through to the final, but who will be crowned the Master Mind Melder? And welcome now to our first guest on Master Mind Meld. Please tell the audience who you are and where you're from.
My name's Ben. I'm from down in lovely Cornwall, or actually very rainy Cornwall at this current moment. And I'm from the YouTube channel Trek Wars and Fantasy, and also Twitch channel. So
now, Trek Wars and Fantasy, I'm guessing is something to do with Star Trek. Well, I'm not guessing because I already know, but it's possible we might even have audience members who haven't come across you before. So why don't you tell people what Trek Wars and Fantasy is all about?
well, it started off as me being a big fan of Star Trek and also loving a game, MMO, which at this current moment is still going around, called Star Wars: The Old Republic. I also happen to love the movies as well, and now the TV series, and I decided to do a channel related to that, which has ended up doing in something I've really been liking with a gent called Olympus, and we are doing a thing called Duels Across the Stars, where basically we pit Star Trek and Star Wars against each other and see now who comes best, whether that's starships, leaders. We even have a Olympic special out, which I'm going to leave the exact title for you to find out in yourselves.
To be discovered. Fantastic. So, please tell our viewers what your specialist subject will be in this first round of Master Mind Meld.
It is called Star Trek Enterprise Season 4. And at this point, it was Star Trek Enterprise and not the first 2 seasons, which was, I think it was just called Enterprise, if I remember correctly.
You do remember correctly. Yes, it was indeed Star Trek Enterprise. Fortunately, that doesn't come up as a question. Otherwise, we'd have spoilers already.
Fair enough. Trying to get our own points in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid you don't get any points for that one. But however, I mean, we've gone over the rules already. But just as a quick recap, there is a 2-minute time limit on questions, up to a maximum of 20 questions. You get 1 point for a correct answer. You may pass as many times as you wish, and I will read out the correct answers for any that you get incorrect. Any passes, I'll read the correct answers after the time has finished. Do you understand, and are you ready to begin?
I do understand, and I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
So, Ben, from Trek Wars and Fantasy, this first round ever on Master Mind Meld with your specialist subject of Star Trek Enterprise Season 4. Your time begins now. What is the title of the 2-part Mirror Universe episodes?
In a Mirror Darkly, Part 1 and 2.
Correct. In what year was the 2-part episode Stormfront set?
2154.
It was 1944.
Oh.
The augment Udar was nicknamed Smike after a character in which Charles Dickens novel?
And Nicholas Nickleby.
Correct. During the episode In a Mirror Darkly Part 2, Dr. Phlox comments that a certain playwright in both universes remains equally grim. Which playwright was that?
Probably got to be Shakespeare.
Correct. What is the name of the actress who plays T'Pol's mother to Les?
Pass.
What is the name of the NX-02?
That is the Columbia or
Correct.
USS.
How many Emmy Awards was season 4 nominated for?
3.
Correct. Which famous actor portrayed John Frederick Paxton, the leader of Terror Prime?
I mean, I did have that written down from Robocop, and I cannot remember, so pass.
The 10th episode of season 4 is titled Daedalus. In Greek mythology, who was Daedalus famously the father of?
Uh, Jupiter.
Incorrect, it was Icarus. In the episode The Anar, the crew are assisted by a young Anar named Jamel. What was the name of her missing brother?
Pass.
Okay, I had started, so I finished. That brings us to the end of round 1. So, the the questions you passed on. What was the name of the actress who plays T'Pol's mother to Les? That was Joanna Cassidy. The
No,
famous actor who portrayed John Frederick Paxton, leader of Terror Prime, was Peter Weller.
that's the one.
And in the episode The Anar, the name of the missing brother was Gareb. But you scored a total of 5 points. I think that was a very honourable and good start to the weakest mind meld. Not the weakest mind meld. No, I'm getting my shows confused to Mastermind Meld even.
Look back on the channel and hopefully we'll see what we're on about.
So let's go to a little break now so you can have a deep breath before we go into our general Trek knowledge round. Thank you, Ben. And welcome back to Master Mind Meld and not the weakest mind link or anything, that I might be getting wrong. So, Ben, how do you feel having completed your specialist subject?
Slightly relieved that I did not make a complete arse of myself and these managed to get one right, or in this case, 5, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so I'm happy that I'm somewhere on the scoreboard.
I think Wolf would tell you it's a very honourable score. So are you ready to proceed and see how you do on general Star Trek knowledge?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fingers crossed. And so the same rules as before, 2 minutes time limit, 1 point for a correct answer. I will read out any incorrect answers, and you may pass as often as you like. And your time begins now. In Strange New Worlds, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. Who is his grandfather?
I got absolutely no idea. Pass. I should know this.
In the motion picture, it is understood, although not explicitly stated, that Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in which original series episode?
I cannot remember. I'll pass.
How is a Russian train toilet flush connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie?
It was a prop on the Enterprise.
Incorrect. Its recorded sound was used for the automatic doors. We see Hikaru Sulu's daughter in 2 of the movies. One is Star Trek Generations. Which is the other?
Um, that would be Into Darkness.
Incorrect. Star Trek Beyond. Alexander Siddig, who portrayed Dr. Julian Bashir, has a famous uncle who also played a character in Star Trek. What was that character's name?
Pass.
Who is the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise?
Oh. Armstrong, Neil Armstrong.
Incorrect. It is Alan Shepard. The 23rd century, being the timeline for the original series, was not established until which movie?
The Wrath of Khan.
Correct. And that time brings us to the end of our questions. You managed a total of 7 questions with 1 correct answer. You passed on 3 and got 3 incorrect. The ones you passed on, in Strange New Worlds, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather, Gregory Peck. Spock being played, of course, by Ethan Peck. In the motion picture, the Commander Decker's assumed father was Commodore Decker, who appeared in The Doomsday Machine. And Alexander Siddig's famous uncle played Dr. Tolian Soren in Star Trek
Oh,
Generations. Yes, Alexander Siddig's famous uncle is Malcolm McDowell. There we are.
didn't know that.
So, not quite so well on the general knowledge there.
Completely bombed there. Just not.
um, and there was even a Star Trek Enterprise question thrown in as well.
Yeah, yeah, I should have. Yeah, should have been in there, but I wasn't.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how everyone else fares with their specialist subject and the general knowledge. But Ben, thank you so much for playing. You leave today with a total of 6 points, which, as our first player, puts you right to the top of our leaderboard. So
Yeah,
well done, and good luck for the rest of the sessions. So, Trek Wars and Fantasy, where can people find it, and where can they find you if they want to find you? I'm talking on social media,
media.
not for stalking purposes.
No, of course. So it is Trek Wars and Fantasy on YouTube and Twitch. I'm also on Twitter at Trek Wars Fantasy. So that's minus the and because I can't get enough letters to finish it off. So that's where to find me. I'll do announcements on Twitter, things to do, but YouTube, I'm at the moment regularly putting out stuff at the content at the moment. So good place to find me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us today. And yeah, I'll put links to all those in the comments below.
Thank you, and
So
thank you for having me.
you're very, very welcome. And join us next time for our next guest here on Mastermind. And welcome to our second guest on Master Mind Meld. I'm not going to call it the weakest organ to link this week. We have the other half of Trek Wars and Fantasy. We have Olympus with us. Welcome, Olympus. How are you
Thank you
doing?
very much for having me. I am really looking forward to this.
Oh, good, 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 good. So let's start. Let's tell people a little bit about who is Olympus? What's your connection with Trek Wars and Fantasy? Yeah, let's start with that.
Oh, okay. So I think I'm 33. I need to do the maths. Yeah, I'm a 33-year-old dad, geek and proud. Absolutely live it. I've loved Star Trek since I was a kid. It was actually my gran that introduced me to it. You know those collection magazines that you used to get with DVDs in them. So like first issues, 99 pence, and then they bump it up.
Yes.
Well, first issue of the Star Trek The Next Generation series had First Contact in it. My gran picked that up for me, and that was me hooked. So I've got that entire collection upstairs from my lovely granny. She introduced me to the world of Star Trek. Um,
Fantastic.
and and yeah, from there, sci-fi, my love of sci-fi just blossomed out completely, and I fully embraced the geek that I am. I've been the other half of Jewels Across the Stars, Trek Wars of Fantasy with Ben for some time now, actually. We'll need to check how long it's been, but from a Jewels Across the Stars episode perspective, we're just about to upload our 21st episode, not including our two specials that we've done too. So that's been going on for quite some time now, which is brilliant. It's something that we both really enjoy doing, just sharing our love of Star Trek and Star Wars. Um, so yeah, I've also recently started volunteering for Trek Central, which is a sort of Star Trek focused community, which puts out news, social media posts, etc. So I'm in the middle of writing my first article for them.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that and your name on the byline.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I think it's fair to say then you are an expert in all things Trek. You've set the bar very high for yourself here.
Oh
Uh,
no.
so why don't you share with everyone what your specialist subject is?
In my opinion, the absolute best Starfleet captain to ever appear on screen, Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
And what is it about Jean-Luc Picard that made you want to choose? Why are you such a an expert
Um,
in Jean-Luc?
well, TNG I've watched so many times over the years. It was the first Star Trek I was exposed to, and I guess I've got a bit of attachment to it in that respect. I love the character development and the gel of the cast over the different seasons. But with Jean-Luc, it's something that really clicked with me was the way that Patrick Stewart really portrays him and shows his growth over the seasons as well. That I really kind of latched onto his love of literature, in particular, the likes of Shakespeare, um, which again, Patrick Stewart has very close ties to Shakespeare. I've got an English degree in literature. Big part of my stuff there is Shakespeare as well. So I guess I kind of just connected on that front for a lot of different reasons. And there's just a presence and an air about him. There's a humanity to Jean-Luc Picard, which is very, very relatable. Um, the biggest thing for me in all Trek, in any media actually, is seeing a character developing and growing, whichever direction it is. If a character is stagnant, it doesn't really flow very well for me with the stories. And even through Picard's the Star Trek Picard modern three seasons that we've had, you still see that growth in that character after all those years from the end of Nemesis. Um, so yeah, I guess that's why I love him so much.
Fantastic, a very full and well-rounded answer there, and interesting about your interest in Shakespeare. We'll have to talk about that off air. However, have we not heard the bells at midnight? So I think it's time we get going on the quiz. Did you like that little bit of a
I
Shakespeare
did. I loved it.
there? Okay, so we've discussed the rules off air, but just a quick reminder for all our viewers, you have 2 minutes to answer up to a maximum of 20 questions. Each correct answer earns 1 point. A pass, and we move straight to the next question, but an incorrect answer will have me reading out the correct answer straight away. Any passes will be answered after the allotted time. Are you ready to begin, Olympus?
As ready as I will ever be, as much of the hype as I've probably put on this and TNG and Picard as possible. You are about to have a right good laugh at me here as I get total brain fog. This is going to be fun.
Well, let's make it so as your time starts now. In the TNG episode The Inner Light, Picard learned to play the Resicum flute on which planet? In 2399, Picard's consciousness was transferred into an android body originally intended for who?
Um, oh, damn, it's still what I mean by brain fog. Data's creator, played by Brent Spiner. Dr. Soong.
I'll have to push you for which Dr. Soong. There have been a number.
Waltong Soong.
Incorrect. It was Dr. Alton Soong.
Damn it, there's too many of
On
them.
which ship did Cadet Picard join the Speed of Light Club?
Stargazer.
Incorrect. It was the USS Leondegrance.
There you go.
What was Jean-Luc's father's name?
Damn, I should know that. Pierre?
It was Maurice.
Maurice,
Who
damn it, I did know that.
described Picard as having the heart of an explorer and the soul of a poet?
Wolf.
It was Tasha Yar.
Damn.
What novel do we see Picard reading to a young Elnor on the planet Vashti during Picard Season 1?
The Three Musketeers.
Correct. Best
Oh,
known
I
for
got
his
one.
command of the Enterprise D, how many years did Jean-Luc command her prior to her destruction at Viridian 3?
I'm gonna make 7 seasons. Then you had Generations. I'm going to say 8.
Correct. In the TNG episode Reunion, Picard became arbiter of succession to whom?
War, Son of Moog.
Incorrect. It was Gowron, and that is
because
2
damn
minutes
it.
up.
Of course it was, because the opposite succession's to the Klingon Chancellor. Duh.
That's
See what I mean about brain fog?
It's a lot of pressure, I understand, but you only
I am
passed
actually
on one
sweating.
answer. The answer you passed on was in the TNG episode The Inner Light, Picard learned to play the Resicum flute. On which planet? The answer was Catan.
Can't see. I knew right away I would not remember the planet name. If it had been, if the question had been, what instrument did Picard learn, I would have said Resicum flute.
Yes,
but
a lot of...
unfortunately, that wasn't the question.
But this is not Mind Meld. This is Master Mind Meld. So
Indeed.
A total of 2 answers correct in your specialist round. We're going to go to a quick break and have a word from our sponsors, who may not have sponsored us, but, don't worry about that. And we'll be coming back shortly for the general knowledge part of the round. Don't go anywhere. That's an order. And welcome back. Do please make use of that service podcast government system, whatever that advert was for. Now, how are you feeling now, Olympus?
A lot calmer now. I've cooled down after that. After that, I've got to say, phenomenal questions that came up there. The one about Picard with the planet and the flute, like I've answered the flute one fine. The planet, just I knew right away I wasn't getting it. The others, most of them I had in my head somewhere, and I just couldn't get them out. It's insane when you're under that amount of pressure, isn't it? Just Just like how much is stopped. But the one I've forgotten the question about the Picard ship, the ship that he was on when he joined the Speed of Light Club. That I did
Yes.
not know. That was a complete and total guess. But I did not know that at all.
Okay, that's whilst he was a cadet. Yeah, it's traveling at, I think it's 34,000 kilometers per hour.
Hmm.
It's like the first time you do that. You join the Speed of Light Club, you get a nice plaque. Yeah, it was the USS Leon deGrasse, under command of Captain Nyota Uhura, no less.
No,
Yep,
wow,
yep.
that's
There you
phenomenal.
go. All these little bits of like Easter, it's all Easter eggs that come from the show, and it's worth mentioning for the viewers as well.
Oh
All the
yeah.
questions asked come from Alpha Canon, none of it from Beta Canon or anything like that, because I think that would be unfair given the depth of information. I mean, the depth from the shows themselves is really extensive. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's all Alpha Canon stuff. It's all there. It's all hidden in episodes somewhere.
Yeah, but that's why we love
If you
this
can find
franchise
it.
so much as well, isn't it? It's just how much lore and how much story and how much detail is in every single episode that you get. It does not take long for them to start building it all up.
I hate to correct you here, Olympus, but Laurie's not in every single episode.
Oh, damn. I keep thinking he's like hiding behind the consoles or behind the turbolift doors. Half the time I'm looking at data, like, are you sure you're data? It could have
well,
been lore all along.
well, the episode Data Lord was left on a bit of a izzy, isn't he?
Hmm.
And he actually makes a contraction at the end of that episode as well.
He does. He doesn't. It's like, is he
So
making a joke?
yeah, well, he says he's not capable. I mean, there's a few
And then,
times he did it by accident. So anyway, moving swiftly on. Are you ready now for the general knowledge part of the round?
let's go for it.
Okay, and a quick reminder for our viewers, I use the same set of questions for the general knowledge with all our players to keep it as fair as possible. Same rules as before, 2-minute time limit, you may pass, but if you get an incorrect answer, I will give you the correct answer there and then, passes at the end. Are you ready?
As I'll ever be. Engage.
Your time starts now. In Strange New Worlds, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. Who is his grandfather?
For Pete's sake. Fast.
In the motion picture, it is understood, though not explicitly stated, that Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in which original series episode?
Pass.
How is a Russian train toilet flush connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie?
Pass. Jesus. Pass.
We see Hikaru Sulu's daughter in two of the movies. One is Star Trek Generations, which is the other?
Um, the Final Frontier?
Incorrect. It is Star Trek Beyond. Alexander Siddig, who
Oh.
portrayed Dr. Julian Bashir, has a famous uncle who also played a character on Star Trek. What was that character's name?
Mm, 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 mm. Pass. Damn.
Who is the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise?
Buzz Aldrin.
Alan Shepard.
Damn it.
The 23rd century being the timeline for the original series was not established until which movie?
The, the Wrath of Khan.
Correct. Who was the
Yes.
first Star Trek actor to write a Star Trek episode?
Jonathan Frakes.
Correct. It was Walter Koenig with TAS, The Infinite Vulcan.
Oh, well
The
done,
nuclear
Walter.
vessel, and I've started, so I'll finish. Featured in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home was the real-life USS Enterprise CVN-65.
Hmm.
However, the Enterprise was out to sea during filming. So which vessel was used in its place?
The Endeavour.
Incorrect. It was the USS Ranger CV-61.
That was a long
So
shot.
there we go with four incorrect answers, four passes, and one correct answer. You scored a grand total of 3 points tonight. The
Woohoo!
ones you passed on, um, you
Oh, no.
passed on. In Strange New Worlds, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. That grandfather is Gregory Peck.
Oh, did not know that.
Spock is played by Ethan Peck.
I knew that bit. I was like, please ask who Ethan Peck is. No, that's going to be too easy. Yeah, okay.
In the motion picture, Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in The Doomsday Machine.
Right.
The Russian train toilet flush is connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie by its recorded sound being used for the automatic doors.
No way. That's what they
Yep.
used.
Yes, way. And Alexander Siddig's famous uncle also played a character in Star Trek. He
I'm gonna kick
played
myself.
Dr. Tolian Soren.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Yeah, there we go.
But
So
Soren, Totally Soren, keep me honest here. This is the character, the antagonist in Generations.
that's correct, yes.
Yeah,
Played
very
by
good friends with
Malcolm
Pat.
McDowell.
Yes, very good friends with Patrick Stewart.
He is
Um,
indeed. And he's
which
Alexander Siddig's uncle.
Yes, which I only found out the other day when I've been reading through what Patrick Stewart's memoirs, which are a phenomenal read, making it so. I highly recommend it.
I read that myself recently, and yes, to our view, yes, definitely, definitely, well worth a very good read. I didn't know that Patrick Stewart studied with Brian Blessed.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely
That
insane,
is,
isn't it?
yeah,
So many names he throws out, especially from his early days as he's starting to sort of train in the theatre, which I'm just like, hmm.
absolutely. I mean, who'd have thought that bald Yorkshiremen could be sexy? Oh, I'm milking that one. Anyway,
I'm
Olympus.
not Yorkshire, but my hair, I'm currently got my hair hiding a very receding hairline. It's going back to here so far and continuing. I think I've got about a decade left.
Give it another 20 years. Olympus, thank you so much for joining us. I have to ask a very quick question because on Trick Wars and Fantasy, you cover both Star Trek and Star Wars, of course, as
Yes.
well as other franchises. Which is better, Trek or Wars?
Oh no, don't ask me that. No. They are both utterly beautiful in very, very different ways. But what I will say is that my love of Star Trek started first. So there will always be an extra special place in my heart for it.
That's a very, yeah, carefully thought out answer there. I like it. And of course, I'll be putting links again to Trek Wars and Fantasy, Duel Amongst the Stars, all that kind of stuff down
Thank
in
you.
the comments below. But Olympus, how can they find you in the grand internet thing? Do you want them to find you? This is
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah,
a
yeah.
better question.
I know, right? This day and age, the way social media can go sometimes. But no, no, I'm on a few of the different platforms. I've got a TikTok account, not been on there in a little while, but you will find me there. You'll find me on Twitter because I still refuse to call it X. Um, and you'll find me on YouTube and Twitch, all of them, Olympus0511. Do not put a space between the Olympus and the numbers. Otherwise, you'll just get a list of Olympus cameras. Whereas if you put it together without space, you'll get me followed by a list of Olympus cameras.
Yeah.
So either way, you're going to get some good reviews on cameras.
Do you use Olympus cameras? Do you?
I did when I had a camera before you got smartphones with the brilliant tech in them for cameras that you do now, especially in the last couple of years. I did have an Olympus camera. I can't remember the model. It wasn't really expensive. It was one of those DSLR type handhelds with the digital screen and had all sorts of settings in it I didn't fully understand. But I did have that. I'm not a professional photographer in any way whatsoever, but I do enjoy taking photos, playing with settings, doing different exposures with them, and all that good fun stuff. But yeah, since phones now can do, the cameras are just so good, I didn't need it anymore.
Okay.
But then that's also why I've got an iPad. You always want to feel like you've got one of those pads in Star Trek, and that's why I got hold of an iPad the first moment I could.
Okay, I'm going to go slightly off topic now. So I'm old enough to remember when the first proper well, I'm old enough to remember the first actual mobile phones in this country that were basically car phones attached to car batteries that you carried. I actually had one for work, so they could
Ooh,
contact me any time of day or night. That was great. But when actual normal phones came out, I went out and got a Motorola one, called the StarTAC. That was a clamshell phone. It was like the first clamshell phone. It was designed specifically to look like the communicator from the original series, and
oh,
they wanted to
nice.
call it the Star Trek, but they couldn't get the licensing, so they called it the StarTAC.
So
There we go.
close, so
I
close.
know.
Oh, that's
I know.
that's brilliant. Funnily enough, my first phone was a folding phone as well, and it was no, that was my second phone. My first phone was a brick with an antenna that didn't go up or down; it just stayed stuck on there. I was 10 at the time, I think. My second phone was a Motorola, and it was a flip. It wasn't the Razor. It wasn't that. It wasn't that modern yet, but it was a flip phone, and it had the aerial that you could pull up, which I always had a lot of fun. Of course, one day that went, oops, but there you go. And I don't know, there's something about the Motorola Razor that just because I did have one of those when they came out, and yeah, again, it was that whole communicator flip thing. I know it didn't look like the TOS ones anymore, but it still felt like flip. Hello.
Oh, the
Um,
Razor was always a sexy phone. I mean, no, we're not sponsored by Motorola, just to be
no,
clear.
but
Although
they made.
Motorola, if you want to, I'll quite happily talk about the new Razor, which is touchscreen and split screen foldy.
Mhm.
I'll happily talk about how sexy that is,
Oh yes.
but no, I'm more Apple these days.
Same,
Go to the
same.
dark
I'm
side.
I'm I'm Apple too, but you know what? You cannot deny that Motorola, in their heyday, made very sexy flip phones.
Certainly.
Um, I keep begging, if Apple, if you ever watch this, get your flipping patent rolling on the foldable glass, please. You're so far
Yes.
behind on this. I would snap up the iPhone in an instant.
Yeah, you're not supposed to snap them.
No, no.
Anyway,
You can snap them down, just not like.
moving swiftly. Anyway, so Olympus, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see how you do in our leaderboard.
I'll
So
be
the
right
the
down at the bottom by the looks of it.
we will see. We have plenty more people to go, including a new contestant next week. So you won't want to miss that, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification icon, because you won't want to be missing that. In the meantime,
Thank you.
Olympus, live long and prosper, and all
Live
the
long and
good
prosper.
stuff.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Welcome back to the third episode of Master Mind Meld and our third contestant. Welcome to the show. Please tell everyone, I expect a lot of them will know already who you are and where you're from.
Hello, it's me, it's Ed. Well, geographically, I'm from Manchester, but I'm also play the part of Elin and Reggie and anyone else we need to on the excellent Star Trek Livingston live stream roleplay.
Absolutely. I imagine most of our regular viewers, they know who you are.
I would hope so.
Troy
I would hope so.
McClure.
I mean, I've led them into disaster for years now. It can only get worse. Better.
So, Ed, really great to see you again. Thank you for coming on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what brought you into Star Trek in the first place?
Oh, I think as I'm a child of the 80s, watching things on television. So, I mean, it's Star Wars, it's Battlestar Galactica, it's Doctor Who, it's everything like that. And it was most likely probably Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan on telly round about Easter time at some point, I would imagine, probably on BBC or ITV, that really got me hooked in. Obviously, you knew the general, cultural tropes of Star Trek, but that was the one that really made me think, oh, this is good. I need to look at this more. And then obviously Next Gen when I was in teenage years and Deep Space Nine when I was at university, stuff like that. Now there's just more of it. It's everywhere. It's great. What a time to be alive.
Isn't it though? Isn't it just? I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. What would you say is your favorite series to date?
I mean, I've said before, I do quite like Prodigy only because it's so good for bringing a next generation, pun entirely intended, into Trek and sci-fi generally. And both my girls enjoy that one. Lower Decks just for such a warm, light-hearted look at Trek itself. And all Trek is good Trek. Even the bad Trek is bad Trek, especially the bad Trek.
Except for very
doctor.
short treks, they can just go into oblivion from my perspective. Okay, Ed, Master Mind Meld, would you like to share with us what your specialist subject is?
My specialist subject is hopefully going to be Federation and Earth starships from the 21st to the 24th century.
Fantastic. Do you consider yourself a bit of a buff when it comes to starships?
I'm a bit of a starship spotter.
Fantastic.
See me on the end of the space dock with binoculars, my notebook. Got that one. 1701. That was fleeted, common.
Okay, well, just to remind everyone of the rules of the game, you'll have 2 minutes in which to answer as many questions as possible on your specialist subject, up to a maximum of 20 potential questions. If you answer correctly, we move straight to the next question. If you pass, we move straight to the next question. If you answer incorrectly, I will give the correct answer. Any passes, I'll give the correct answers after the round has finished. With all that in mind, Ed, are you ready to begin?
Engage.
Your time then starts now. What was the name of the first Earth ship capable of reaching warp 4?
Antares? No.
Incorrect. It was the USS Franklin. When Gene Roddenberry first proposed Star Trek to NBC in 1964, what was the main ship of the series to have been originally named?
Yorktown.
Correct. Federation starships have a number of crawlways throughout them. Which art designer were those crawlways named after?
Matt Jeffries.
Correct. Kirk's Enterprise, the USS Pegasus, and both USS Defiance under Captain Sisko have had cloaking devices fitted. What is the one other Federation ship with this technology in Alpha Cannon?
Pegasus. Uh, is it the alternative universe Enterprise from All Good Things?
Incorrect. It's the Federation holoship in Star Trek Insurrection. What class of ship was the Enterprise F?
Constitution 2 class?
Incorrect. It's Odyssey. After the destruction of the USS Defiant by the Breen in Deep Space Nine, which ship is renamed the Defiant in order to replace her?
The Sao Paulo?
Correct. In lower decks, Nick Lucano stole the USS Pesaro, which was later liberated by Beckett Mariner. What class of vessel was it?
Pass.
What is the typical naming policy for the first ship of a new class of vessel?
It's named for the class, so Sovereign class is USS Sovereign, etc.
Correct. The Enterprise C was an ambassador class vessel, and I've started, so I'll finish. Please name one other ship in this class from Alpha Cannon.
I'm going to say Surak as a guess.
Incorrect. You could have had Excalibur, Horatio,
Zhukov.
Yamaguchi, or Zhukov. Absolutely. So there we are with a score of 4 points and 4 incorrect answers, only 1 pass. I think you did very, very well there. So well done.
Well, there's some fiendish questions there. Excellent.
Well, it is Master Mind,
Yeah,
not Amateur Mind.
It shouldn't be easy.
The one you passed on, Lower Decks Nick. In Lower Decks, Nick Lucano stole the USS Pesaro, which was a Saber Runner class.
I might not have got that far on Lower Decks.
Okay, interesting. Well, there we go. We're going to give you a moment to get your breath back, to calm yourself, maybe have a cold drink before we go into our general Trek knowledge round. We're going to go to a quick advert now for our viewers, so don't go anywhere. That's an order. We'll be right back. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that advert and that you'll make good use of the services podcast, whatever the advert was about. Yeah, do give them a look. They're brilliant people, whoever they may be. Now, Ed, one quick correction I'm going to make from our from that first round. The reason why the USS Enterprise D from All Good Things was not included in the list is because once that timeline was reset, canonically it didn't exist anymore. However, I think it was shown on screen to have a cloaking device. It decloaked in front of the Klingons before firing its big old cannon at the front. So I'm actually going to amend the score slightly to give you half a point for that one. So in the event of a tie-break situation, that might just pip it. You never know. So yeah, so people watching, you don't need to write. I mean, write in and talk to us anyway. But
Don't write it. We've got enough paperwork.
But it did have. Yeah, canonically it didn't exist, but I think it's fair that you get half a point for that, Ed. Right, how are we feeling now?
Well, I said warmed up now. Yes.
Warmed up.
Can only get easier, right? Right? Oh.
Are you ready to find out?
Yeah, ready to boldly go.
Okay. So the same rules apply for the general knowledge round. It's a 2 minutes time limit with a maximum of 20 questions. Same rules with regards to correct answers, passes, and incorrect answers. So if you're ready, your time starts now. In Strange New World, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. Who is his grandfather?
Pass.
In the motion picture, it is understood, though not explicitly stated, that Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in which original series episode?
The Doomsday Machine.
Correct. How is a Russian train toilet flush connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie?
Pass. Dying to find out that one, though.
We see Hikaru Sulu's daughter in two of the movies. One is Star Trek Generations. Which is the other?
Star Trek 6.
Incorrect. It's Star Trek Beyond. Alexander Siddig, who portrayed Dr. Julian Bashir, has a famous uncle who also played a character on Star Trek. What was that character's name?
Pass.
Who is the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise?
Alan Shepard.
Correct. The 23rd century being the timeline for the original series was not established until which movie?
The motion picture?
Incorrect. It was The Wrath of Khan.
Oh.
Who was the first Star Trek actor to write a Star Trek episode?
James Doohan?
Incorrect. It was Walter Koenig with the TAS episode The Infinite Vulcan. The nuclear vessel featured in Star Trek IV The Voyage Home was the real-life USS Enterprise CVN-65. However, the Enterprise was out to sea during filming, so which vessel was used in its place?
USS Ranger?
Correct. In Star Trek Nemesis, Commander Riker comments that he first saw Data on the holodeck trying to whistle a tune and have started so I'll finish, but cannot remember which tune. What is that tune?
Pop Goes a Weasel.
Correct. And at the end of that round, you have 4 correct answers. You got 3 answers wrong and you had 3 passes. Very, very well done. The answers that you passed on. In Strange New Worlds, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. That grandfather is Gregory Peck.
Oh, wow, of course, Ethan Peck.
Spock is played by Ethan Peck, indeed. The Russian train toilet flush is connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie because its recorded sound was used for the automatic doors.
Oh, splendid.
And Alexander Siddig's famous uncle played Dr. Tolian Soren.
Oh, okay.
His uncle is Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
There we go. So yeah, so very, very well done there. A total of 8.5 points across both rounds.
It sounds so little, but when you're eking out each individual one,
I can tell you without fear of contradiction, you are currently our top scorer. So that puts you straight to the top of our leaderboard. So yeah, very, very well done there. So we may see you in the final yet. We do have other contestants to see yet and to enter Master Mind Meld. But until then, where can people, well, first question is, do you want people to find you on the internet?
On the interwebs, yes. If anyone wants to see the other stuff I get up to, which is not Star Trek Online, it's Fileock22 on Instagram. That's all my painting, modeling, wargaming, and other stuff. Commissions are taken, and anything that's interesting or unusual, I put on there. So it's just entirely wargaming, miniatures painting, and other items that go with very small people playing games. Play more games. That's what everyone should do.
Very small people playing games, or people playing games with very small people?
In my household, it's both.
Fantastic. Well, we'll put all the links in below for everyone to find you. And of course, you're a regular on the channel anyway. So I think a lot of people already know who you are, I would hope. But there we go. That's it for another episode of Master Mind Meld. Will Ed retain his top seat on the leaderboard, or will he get knocked off? You'll have to tune in next time to find out. Until then, peace and long life, long and prosper. Take care. Welcome back to episode 4 of Master Mind Meld. I am your host, Stu Jackson, and we have a new contestant today. Please tell everyone your name and where you're from.
Hello, I'm Jeremiah O'Connor. I'm from Cork in Ireland.
Excellent, and congratulations on being the first person in an episode other than myself to wear a uniform
Thank you very
on
much.
screen.
Thank you very much, Captain. It used to be a
Lo-
captain's rank, but it's faded. Years have faded my rank, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but looking absolutely fantastic. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your interest in Star Trek, where it came from?
Yes, so I have been a fan of Star Trek since the 25th anniversary. I randomly rented Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country from my local video store when I was a kid. I must have been maybe 7 or 8. And I think I rented it because I thought it would be stupid and I wanted to laugh at it. But I ended up falling madly in love with the entire thing and buying a box set of movies, a VHS box set of Star Trek 1 to 5, and slowly discovering the original series and then the next gen, and getting Deep Space Nine, my favorite Star Trek series on VHS as it was released, and became a major fan, beaten up in school for having a Star Trek gang. The rest of my school thought I had a gang, so they formed a WWF gang to fight my Star Trek gang. But my Star Trek gang was just me. Um, and so it was the entire school chasing me around the yard day after day, which was probably my own fault for bringing in a Klingon dictionary to an Irish school in the 1990s. Is a very ill-advised thing to do. And I was trying to make a Star Trek film in my back garden involving, I made old slates into LCARS display systems and cracked them and had them on a kind of a griddle so that when the ship was attacked, I could pull a string and the griddle would fly up and the pieces of slate would fly about. Very dangerous. And I had an old carpet um roll, like the cardboard tube in the center of a carpet that I found in my shed as a warp reactor. And I set up a warp core and a bridge in my back garden. I never got around to filming it, but I did stockpile glitter for about 2 years for transporter effects that I never quite knew what it was. I was about 13 and I had these ideas, but they weren't fully formed. But I've always been a massive Trekkie. Uh, I think Star Trek pretty much formed my own sense of morality from watching Kirk and Spock and everyone over the years. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I love hearing about your planned film. And of course, it's not too late for you to do your own fan film, is it? Because,
I mean, it's
like
easier now,
myself,
I think.
you're a professional actor.
Yes, indeed. I'm a professional actor. I work in film and television. Um, I'm currently appearing in a play where I'm playing Picasso for the Camden Fringe called Mar Dora. But I've been in an episode of Call the Midwife was probably the biggest thing that I've done. But I've done lots of different plays and things. I've contemplated going to Vancouver to see if I could be in Strange New Worlds. That sometimes I think that's the escape strategy in my head. It would be a mad thing to do, but it does pop into the brain every now and then. To be in Star Trek would genuinely be one of the most amazing things in the world. Really, to have a station of one's own on the bridge would be pretty phenomenal.
If you could play any race from Star Trek, which race would you like to play?
That is a good and impossible question. I guess it would be really fun to just go completely mad with prosthetics and play a Klingon or something and just be completely covered. Um, Although I imagine like Colin Meaney, I would look terrible in Klingon makeup. That one time when the cast of Deep Space Nine um in an episode of Apocalypse Rising had a Klingon makeup, they genuinely look terrible. And I think I don't have the head for Klingon makeup. But I would love to just be that mad and angry. I mean, it'd be quite fun to be a Vulcan. It'd be fun to do anything, really. Um, just to be in Starfleet, really. A lot of the aliens are quite dull. Like if I was a Bajoran, I'd just be a guy with a chip on my shoulder about the Cardassians. And I guess it'd be good to be anything. Give me anything, really. A new alien, a brand new thing would be great.
Brand new one. Yeah. I think Bajoran is the way to go because
Yeah,
fighting fascism is a full-time job.
definitely.
Okay, so we're here to do some Master Mind Meld. The rules are that you have 2 minutes to answer up to a maximum of 20 questions about your specialist subject, which we'll come to in a moment. If you answer correctly, we move straight on to the next question. If you pass, we move straight on to the next question. If you answer incorrectly, I give out the correct answer before we move on. Any past answers will be given at the end of the 2 minutes. So if you'd like to tell people, what is your specialist subject?
My specialist subject is Miles Edward O'Brien.
The gentleman behind me who must suffer. Why Miles in particular?
Well, it's interesting. As an Irishman, Chief O'Brien is one of the very few fictional characters who is Irish, who the fact that he is Irish isn't the entirety of his character. Throughout fiction, in anything, really, if someone's Irish, it's usually because they're an alcoholic or they're drunk or they're the comedy. Chief O'Brien is Irish, but he just happens to be Irish. He's an incredibly capable officer who happens to be Irish. And it is remarkably, in the same way as Dr. Bashir, played by Alexander Siddig Al Fadil, is a Sudanese actor. And every other role he plays outside of Star Trek, him being Sudanese is a big part of the roles he plays. But in Star Trek, he's just a doctor who happens to be from, I guess he could be from he has mixed race parents. So it's, who knows, but it's incredibly refreshing to have somebody in fiction who is Irish, and that is not the entirety of their character.
Right. Well, let's see just how much you know about Miles Edward O'Brien. Jeremiah, are you ready to begin?
Yes.
In that case, your time starts now. In which season of The Next Generation do we discover O'Brien's first name is Miles?
Season 4.
Correct. What post was O'Brien initially offered in Starfleet Academy as established in the final Deep Space Nine episode, What We Leave Behind?
Pass.
Miles O'Brien was born in Ireland in the town of Killarney, which is in which county?
Kerry.
Correct. What was the name of O'Brien's hallucinated cellmate in the Deep Space Nine episode Hard Time?
Pass. Oh.
What rank did O'Brien hold when he first transferred to the Enterprise D?
That's a complicated question because it changes all the time. Chief petty officer, or ensign, or lieutenant,
Correct.
Depending on the episode.
One of O'Brien's ancestors was a Union man who participated in the Pennsylvania Coal Strike of 1902. What was his full name?
It was Aloysius O'Brien. Charles Aloysius O'Brien.
It was Sean Aloysius O'Brien.
John Aloysius O'Brien. Yeah.
According to Captain Picard, which of the Enterprise D transporter rooms was O'Brien's favorite?
Transporter room 2?
Incorrect. It was transporter room 3. What musical instrument does Miles play?
The cello.
Correct. Who introduced Miles to Keiko, the woman who would become his wife?
Data.
Correct. In a cutaway scene during Lower Decks, O'Brien is mentioned as possibly being what?
The most important man in Starfleet history.
Correct. How many brothers does Miles O'Brien have?
2.
Correct. In the Deep Space Nine episode Whispers, and I've started so I'll finish, a replicant of O'Brien was created to be a sleeper agent for which Gamma Quadrant government?
Pass. There are no other episodes, so they're gone.
Okay, so after the end of your first round in your specialist subject, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 answers correct out of 12 answered. You got 2 incorrect, and you passed on 3. The ones you passed on. The post O'Brien was offered at Starfleet Academy at the end of Deep Space Nine was Professor of Engineering.
Oh,
the
yeah,
name of his...
Oh. Misunderstood the question.
Right. The name of O'Brien's hallucinated cellmate was Echar.
Echar.
And in the Deep Space Nine episode Whispers, it was the Parada government.
Of course, the unknown species, the Parada.
His replicant was a sleeper agent for, but that is an excellent score. I can tell you that is the highest score we have had for a specialist subject so far.
Good. Wow. Excellent.
So, very, very well done there. We're going to go to a quick break before we move on to the general Trek knowledge round. Viewers, don't go anywhere. That's an order. And welcome back to Master Mind Meld. As I say every week, please do make use of that podcast, product, or government system advertised just then. Jeremiah, do you prefer Jeremiah or Jerry?
Jeremiah. Jeremiah's a better name. I just think.
Absolutely.
It's on the birth cert, may as well use it.
Fantastic. So Jeremiah, you did really, really well in that first session. How did it feel?
It was good. It was good. It was frustrating. There were certain things that were on the tip of my tongue. Especially Sean Aloysius O'Brien. I love that episode. I love that a 1990s US television show dedicates an entire 45 minutes of television to Marxism. I don't think any other show in America has ever done that before. And the fact that O'Brien, like Colomini, is a union man is genuinely delicious. And the fight that Bashir and O'Brien have with Worf is one of the best moments of anything. It's just wonderful. So I can't believe that. I knew it was Aloysius, but Sean, of course it was Sean. What else would it be? Of course it's Sean Aloysius O'Brien.
But would you say Deep Space Nine was your favorite series then?
Definitely. I love Deep Space Nine. When I was growing up, I think I was a bigger fan of the original series, which is just iconic. It's an iconic piece of television, the original series. I think in a weird way, it's sort of ageless, but a lot of Star Trek feels a bit ageless. But Deep Space Nine, just the way they let characters grow and change and the depth of feeling, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful show. I think it explores. I think it explores just more that whole arc where Gul Dukat controls Deep Space Nine and Kira has to live there. It's just wonderful television. I don't think Star Trek's ever been better.
Absolutely. Now, moving away from Star Trek just for a moment, I know that you've been involved with a podcast with a mutual friend, Dan Thompson, who has appeared on this channel previously in our role play game. You've been with the Danger Club podcast, haven't you?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I appear in the Patreon only, the Danger Files, which is set. It's a sort of an X-Files based on alien investigating. We've done 2 seasons now. We just finished recording the last season quite recently, and it's good fun. I play a sort of a Clint Eastwood-like character, or at least a Clint Eastwood voice that I can manage. But I've known Dan for about 12 years now, and my first game of Dungeons and Dragons, Dan was the dungeon master, and I never played it before. Again, about 10, 12 years ago. And I came up with the name. I believe I came up with the name of the Danger Club in the first place many, many years ago. Which, not much of a name, but it was mine.
It's pretty iconic these days. Danger Club doing so very, very well. Interesting. So you're to credit for that.
Really, I think so. Good. My memory, so says my memory. I'm sure a few of them would argue that, but I think it was me. Back in the day.
Okay. Well, we'll put a link in the description below for the Danger Club podcast, and in particular the Patreon, so that people can go and listen to your Clint Eastwood-esque voice.
Yes.
Fantastic. But in the meantime, let's get back to Star Trek and see what your general Trek knowledge is like. Jeremiah, are you ready for this round?
Yes, indeed.
Then your time starts now. In Strange New World, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. Who is his grandfather?
Gregory Peck.
Correct. In the motion picture, it is understood, although not explicitly stated, that Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in which original series episode?
The Doomsday Machine.
Correct. How is a Russian train toilet flush connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie?
Pass.
We see Hikaru Sulu's daughter in 2 of the movies. One is Star Trek Generations. Which is the other?
Star Trek Beyond.
Correct. Alexander Siddig, who portrayed Dr. Julian Bashir, has a famous uncle who also played a character on Star Trek. What was that character's name?
Pass. I feel like I know this. Pass.
Who is the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise?
Pass.
The 23rd century being the timeline for the original series was not established until which movie?
Wrath of Khan.
Correct. Who was the first Star Trek actor to write a Star Trek episode?
Walter Koenig.
Correct. The nuclear vessel featured in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home was the real-life USS Enterprise CVN-65. However, the Enterprise was out to sea during filming, so which vessel was used in its place?
Yorktown.
Incorrect. It was the USS Ranger CV-61.
Oh.
In Star Trek Nemesis, Commander Riker comments that he first saw Data on the holodeck trying to whistle a tune, but cannot remember which tune. What is that tune?
Pop Goes the Weasel.
Correct. And what is Dr. Beverly Crusher's rank? I've started, so I'll finish. What is Dr. Beverly Crusher's rank in Star Trek First Contact?
Lieutenant Commander.
Incorrect. It was full commander.
Commander.
So, at the end of that round, you scored a total of 2, 3, 4, 6 points, which puts you straight to the top of our leaderboard.
Hooray.
Congratulations there. You did get 2 incorrect out of the 11 questions answered, and you passed on 3. The ones you passed on, the Russian train toilet flush is connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie by its recorded sound being used for the automatic doors.
Okay.
Alexander Siddig's Alexander Siddig's famous uncle played Dr. Tolian Soren.
Of course, Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, I knew that. Damn it.
And the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise is Alan Shepard.
Of course. Okay.
But you've done excellent today. Absolutely fantastic. Hopefully it's been a lot of fun for you.
It has. Yeah. It's good to know that some of it's still in there.
It really, really is.
Although I feel like it's taking up space, but
so like I say, you're now at the top of our leaderboard and set to come back for the final as it stands at the moment. But in the meantime, where can people find your work if you want them to?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram under Jeremiah O'Connor, and also on Threads under Jeremiah O'Connor. I deleted Twitter yesterday, like a lot of people. But my Instagram has a link to my YouTube page where I make a lot of the moment I'm in the middle of making editing travel videos based on lots of journeys I did a long trip in South America in 2022, and I'm making little travel documentaries about that. But my Instagram has links to pretty much everything.
Oh, fantastic. And we'll put links to that in the description below as well so that people can find you. But Jeremiah, thank you so much for being on Master Mind Meld. And
Thank you very much.
As we always say, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
And prosper. Absolutely. Take care for now. And join us next time when we'll be quizzing. I lost my words completely. Let me try that again. Join us next time when we will be quizzing a new contestant here on Master Mind Meld. Take care. Welcome back to Master Mind Meld with me, your host, Stu Jackson. And today we are joined by contestant number 5. Please tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Craig Houston, and I'm from Washington in the UK.
Washington. In the UK, it's good to clarify that one, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not part of the cesspool. We're over in the States.
Okay, Craig, so it's good to see you again. Obviously, not a stranger to this channel. You did our weakest Borg interlink, and we did a review episode together, didn't we?
We did a couple, yes. That's
And
going back a little while now, isn't it?
it was a little
Good
while
fun.
ago now, but hopefully our viewers do remember you. And yeah, welcome back. We haven't scared you off quite yet, but if today doesn't, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
But first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you into Star Trek in the first place?
Oh, when I was a kid in the late 70s, and it was on BBC One. So I'm showing me age there. So this was pre-motion picture and everything like that. And I loved it as a kid. Always preferred it over Doctor Who. And I think the likes of Blake Seven and that. And I've just loved Star Trek ever since. Loved the movies, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, everything. So it's been a big part of my life ever since I was a kid, and I'm not planning on growing up yet.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So it's been with you for a long time. Original series obviously was your starting point. Do you have a favorite series though?
Yeah, as a series as a whole, DS9 is my favorite. But I love all the series, and there's aspects of all of them that I love, and characters and the actors and everything. So there's nothing that I absolutely hate. I find joy in all of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even I know we disagree over one of the movies and its merits, but yeah, I won't even say I hate that movie. That'll come up, I'm sure, at some point. But would you like to tell our viewers what your specialist subject is?
The original movies, from the motion picture to the undiscovered country.
So that's the first 6 movies. And why did you pick those in particular? And why not the first 7 movies? Why did you exclude Generations?
That's where a big part of my teenage years and growing up, that was Star Trek, through the 80s, before Next Generation and everything. That's my time period.
Right, right. So yeah, so a lot of nostalgia in there, and if anything like
Loads.
me, before you got distracted by girls and things.
Girls and music, yeah.
Girls and music. Yeah. Yeah, I was never worried about music. Okay, so we'll be talking about music again shortly, but Craig, are you ready to start?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, so the rules are the same as each time. You have 2 minutes to answer as many questions out of 20 as possible. If you answer correctly or pass, we move straight to the next question. If you answer incorrectly, I give the correct answer before moving on. Any past answers, I'll give the correct answer after the round has finished. So, Craig, if you are ready, your time starts now. What unstable matter did David Marcus use in the creation of the Genesis devices revealed in Star Trek 3?
Photo matter.
Correct. Which movie contains the one and only time that we hear the line, "Scotty, beam me up," from Captain Kirk?
Star Trek 5.
Incorrect. It was The Voyage Home. René Auberjonois is perhaps best known in Star Trek for portraying Odo in Deep Space Nine. But what was his character's rank and name in Star Trek 6?
Colonel West.
Correct. In Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, who is the only person on screen to mention Commander Krug's name?
Valkyries.
Correct. Which shuttlecraft lands on Shakari in The Final Frontier?
Galileo.
Incorrect. It was the Copernicus. In Star
Okay,
Trek
yes.
5, an Earth probe is destroyed by Klar in command of a Klingon bird of prey as target practice. What was the name of that probe?
Pass.
In Star Trek The Motion Picture, what was the only prop to have been retained from the original series?
Ooh. Communicator.
Can you expand a little?
Just a handheld communicator.
Incorrect. It
Worn
was
on the belt.
Uhura's earpiece.
Earpiece.
In Star Trek VI, whilst traveling aboard the Enterprise to Rura Penthe, Uhura communicates with the Klingon listening post in the Klingon language. What does she tell them is the name of the freighter they are on?
Oh, pass. I can't remember that.
Lawrence Luckinbill, who played Sybok, is the real-life son-in-law of which two people heavily connected with Star Trek?
Pass.
And that completes this first round.
Oh, that's
So
awful.
out of 9 questions, it's very different when you're under the spotlight, isn't it?
It is.
Out of 9 questions, you answered 3 correctly. You
that's awful.
passed on 3 and you got 3 incorrect. So that's by far from our worst. But yeah, that is far from our worst score so far. So well done for that. The ones you passed on. The Earth probe destroyed by Klar in Star Trek V was Pioneer 10.
Yeah.
Also, in Star Trek VI, the Klingon freighter that Uhura tells the listening post they are is the IKS Ursva. And Lawrence Luckinbill is the son-in-law of Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball.
And loose. I knew that.
So there we are with a score of 3. That goes into our leaderboard. But we'll have to see how you do in the general Trek knowledge, which we'll do right after this break. Don't go anywhere. That's an order. And welcome back. And just a reminder that I say every single episode, do make good use of that podcast, that product, or that government system as advertised just then. Craig, so how are you feeling after that first round?
Deflated.
Deflated. Oh, you've done very, very well. So part of it really is difficult when you're actually in the spotlight, isn't it?
Definitely.
I think a lot of people sitting at home in their comfortable chair thinking, oh, I know all these answers. That's not the same, is it?
It's not at all.
Fantastic. But you're not a stranger to broadcasting yourself, are you? You have a podcast. Why don't you tell our listeners and viewers about it?
Yes, it's Planet Marzipan. It's a Fish and Marillion podcast, so about the rock group Marillion and former lead singer Fish as well. We started in September last year. We're up to about episode 55 now, and it does really well. We've had loads of guests on and loads of friends on, and it's an entertaining podcast, even if you haven't got a clue about the music. It's just good fun to have a lot of friends. It's just like sitting around a pub and discussing your favorite subject. You know, you have a good crack on, and I've got a habit of being the butt of a lot of jokes. It's great fun.
So you've been a Marillion fan for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, since I was about 15 or so. So it's been with me for most of my life. It's me next great love next to Star Trek.
If you had to pick one over the other.
Oh, I couldn't. It's like Sarah keep trying to say which is my favorite cat. Couldn't do it.
Okay, well, where can people find Planet Marillion?
Planet Marzipan.
Planet.
You got me right.
Take 2. Not that I edit these things out, but yes, where can people find
That's
Planet
it.
Marzipan?
The best thing is you leave your mistakes in because it proves that you're human.
It proves I'm human and I'm lazy.
Yeah. Just all good podcasts about suppliers. Just type in Planet Marzipan and we'll be there.
Planet Marzipan, not Planet Marillion. And I will put links in the description below so that people can Get the right thing. So you may have
Yeah, and don't say Planet Trek X. That's just far too early.
Oh, spoiler alert for viewers of this channel. You might want to keep your eyes peeled for that, but we won't say any more at this point. So moving swiftly on then, are you ready for the general knowledge round?
Absolutely not, but let's go.
Let's do it anyway. So same rules apply as before, same 2-minute time limit, and same rules with correct answers, passes, and incorrect answers. So are you ready? Your time starts now. In Strange New World, Spock is played by an actor with a famous grandfather. Who is his grandfather?
Gregory Peck.
Correct. In the motion picture, it is understood, though not explicitly stated, that Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Decker, who appeared in which original series episode?
The Doomsday Machine.
Correct. How is a Russian train toilet flush connected to the 2009 Star Trek reboot movie?
Train toilet flush. Can't be anything to do with it. No, I'm going to pass on it. I would have said something to do with the
We see
factory.
Hikaru Sulu's daughter in 2 of the movies. One is Star Trek Generations. Which is the other?
Star Trek Beyond.
Correct. Alexander Siddig, who portrayed Dr. Julian Bashir, has a famous uncle who also played a character on Star Trek. What was that character's name?
Saran.
Correct.
Malcolm McDowell.
Who is the American astronaut shown in the title sequence of Star Trek Enterprise?
Do I just guess it? Got plenty of time. Neil Armstrong.
Incorrect. It was Alan Shepard.
Ah,
The 23rd century being the timeline for the original series was not established until which movie?
Star Trek 2.
Correct. Who was the first Star Trek actor to write a Star Trek episode?
Walter Koenig.
Correct. The nuclear vessel featured in Star Trek for The Voyage Home was the real-life USS Enterprise CVN-65. I've started, so I'll finish. However, the Enterprise was out to sea during filming, so which vessel was used in its place?
Intrepid.
Incorrect. It was the USS Ranger CV-61.
Ah, yeah.
So, at the end of the second round, you did very, very well there. You answered a total of 9 questions again, of which you got 6 correct, 2 incorrect, and 1 pass. The Russian train toilet flush was its sound was recorded for use as the automatic doors in the 2009 reboot movie.
I didn't know that. There you go.
There we go. We found something you didn't know about Star Trek. Now I can sleep peacefully tonight.
That's a lot I don't know about Star Trek.
So there we are. So with a total of 6 points in your general knowledge, as I go crunching the numbers on my very, very fancy computer system, I can tell you that currently puts you in second place on our leaderboard.
Call blimey, governor.
So there we go. I am waiting to hear on 1 or 2 more potential contestants, but as things stand at the moment, you will be going through to the final. How do you feel about that?
It'll be a laugh.
It really, really will. So everybody watch it. Thank you for joining us. Do check out Planet Marzipan, whether you're a Marillion or fish fan or not. Do you get many non-fans listening?
Bizarrely, yes. Just you get some people who listen, who just intrigued by it, and they'll listen to it, and it gives. Oh, I'll give that a go. We've had a few emails and a few social media comments about you're getting us into it, and we get told off a lot of people complaining that their wives are having a go at them because we're making them spend money on deluxe versions of things that they already possess, and going out and buying vinyl and 5.1 systems and stuff like that to try and get the whole experience. It's like, I'm sorry.
I'm absolutely certain that none of the Trekkies watching this will be able to relate to that.
No,
at
we
all.
don't buy
Not in the
multiple
least.
formats of things. No. He says when he's, I mean, come on, how many of us have bought the VHSs, then moved on to the DVDs, moved on to the Blu-rays, moved on to 4K, and then are lazy and watch half the stuff on stream?
You missed laser discs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't go that well.
Fantastic. So yeah, so Planet Marzipan, all about Marillion, who aren't just about the song Kaylee. That's something I learnt by listening. So do check that out. And join us next time for Mastermind Meld. In the meantime, peace and long life. Welcome back to the final of Master Mind Meld. I'm Stu Jackson, your host, and with us we have our two highest scorers in the season so far. We welcome back Craig. How you doing, Craig?
Not too bad, mate. Very good.
Not too
Long,
bad.
long day at work and absolutely bricking it about this, but here we go.
So perfectly well prepared then. Are you excited to be in the final?
Surprised.
Surprised. Fantastic. And we welcome back as well Jeremiah.
Hello.
Jeremiah representing there in the Kirk top again. So how about yourself? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised?
I feel like I know less today, so we'll see how it is. I felt more prepared last time, but we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, there is a little bit of a twist in the final, as we discussed off air. So we're going to be having your own specialist subjects again, more questions on those, this time with the time limit of 90 seconds rather than the 2 minutes previously. We will be having more general knowledge questions, Star Trek general knowledge, obviously, as before. And we will be having a very special specialist round where you will each be answering questions on each other's specialist subject. So that should throw a bit of a fly in the ointment, unless, of course, you are a master mind melder. See, that's where it all works out. It is all a thing, honest. Anyway, so we got to meet you both last time in the solo session, so let's dive straight in to our first round on this final. Jeremiah, you scored highest in the solo round, so you will be going first. Craig, I'm going to be putting you into the pattern buffer whilst we do this round, so don't go anywhere. Watch out for those transporter worms. They can be a bit of a nightmare. We will be seeing you again shortly. There we go. That is Craig off comfortably in the pattern buffer, but I'm assuming comfortably. We will see. So, Jeremiah, can you remind us what your specialist subject is?
Chief Miles Edward O'Brien.
Indeed, it is the man himself. So, with a time limit of 1 minute 30 seconds this time, Jeremiah, are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am.
In which case, good luck, and let's begin. In Deep Space Nine, which episode? The episode Whispers, a replicant of O'Brien was created to be a sleeper agent for which Gamma Quadrant government?
The Steren? No.
Incorrect. It was the Parada government. Miles kept a pet Lycosa tarantula aboard the Enterprise D. What was her name?
Pass.
What colour shirt does O'Brien wear in the Next Generation pilot episode Encounter at Farpoint?
Red.
Correct. What title was bestowed upon Miles in order to rally the people of a Bajoran village against the Dal Rock?
The storyteller.
Incorrect. It was the Sirrah. In the Deep Space Nine episode Honor Amongst Thieves, O'Brien tells Bilby he is dating a florist. What name did he give Bilby for her?
Pass.
O'Brien served aboard the USS Rutledge under which captain?
Benjamin Maxwell.
Correct. In the Next Generation episode Data's Day, Miles marries Keiko, but what was Keiko's maiden name?
Ishigara.
Very close. I will give you half a point for that. Whilst disguised... Oh, I've started, so I'll finish. Whilst disguised as Enterprise crew in the episode Trials and Tribulations, what rank did O'Brien display on his sleeves?
Lieutenant.
Incorrect. It was ensign. And with that, you scored 2.5 points. You answered, how many did you answer? Because I forgot to number them. You answered 8 questions. You got 3 incorrect. And you passed on 2. The ones you passed on, Miles's pet Lycosa tarantula was named Christina.
Of course.
And in Honor Amongst Thieves, O'Brien tells Bilby he is dating someone called Kimiko. The one that I'm giving you half a point on, you gave Ishigawa as the maiden name for Keiko. It was Ishikawa.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're very, very close with that. I think that was deserving of half a point. Very well done. Let's bring Craig back out of that transporter buffer. He should be joining us any second now. There he is. How was the transporter buffer?
Tingly.
Tingling all over. Fantastic. Okay, well, Jeremiah, get ready to tingle because we're going to send you into the transporter buffer as we go for Craig's specialist subject. We will see
I'm
you
sure
in a
I
moment.
just- I'm sure it actually had 2 arms to begin with.
Fantastic. So, your specialist subject. Can you remind us what your specialist subject is?
The original 6 motion pictures.
The original 6 movies. Okay, so are you ready for 1 minute 30 seconds on your specialist subject?
Let's dive in.
In which case, good luck and let's begin. Which Star Trek movie was the first ever movie tie-in promotion with McDonald's Happy Meals?
Motion picture.
Correct. At the start of The Undiscovered Country, how long does Captain Sulu state he has been in command of the Excelsior?
Oh, was it 18 months?
Incorrect. It was 3 years.
3 years.
In the voyage home, Admiral Cartwright contacts a starship that has been disabled and is planning to deploy a makeshift solar sail. What ship was this?
Saratoga?
Incorrect. It was the USS Yorktown.
Yorktown.
Which San Francisco park does the Bounty land in during the voyage home?
Oh, pass. Can't remember.
The famous opening monologue of Star Trek was changed from its 5-year mission to her ongoing mission for which movie?
Star Trek 2.
Correct. Which of the first 6 Star Trek movies is the only one not to feature any Klingon characters?
Any Klingon characters? Star Trek 2.
Correct. The original script for the motion picture was written by Gene Roddenberry and was called what?
The God Thing?
Correct. Who voiced the... Oh, I've started, so I'll finish. Who voiced the Excelsior turbo lift in Star Trek 3 when Scotty responds, "Up your shaft"?
Pass.
And with, I believe that's 8, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 questions answered. You got 2 incorrect. and you passed on 2, but a total of 4. Well done there. The ones you passed on, which San Francisco park does the bounty land in during the voyage
Golden
home?
Gate Park.
Golden Gate Park, indeed. And the voice of the Excelsior turbo lift in Star Trek 3 was voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Level, please.
That's the one. That's the one. Fantastic. So let's bring Jeremiah out of the transporter buffer before he gets transporter psychosis. And welcome back. Are you tingly as well, Jeremiah?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I keep thinking people who I know are dead are alive. It's very odd.
Fantastic. Well, at the end of the first round, I can tell you, Jeremiah, you scored a total of 2.5 points. Craig, you scored a total of 4.
Wow. Very good.
So this means that, Craig, you're going first in the Star Trek General Knowledge round. So, Jeremiah, would you like to take a deep breath before I send you back into that transporter buffer? Here we go. So again, with 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock, your Star Trek General Knowledge round. Are you ready?
Go for it.
And we'll begin. Green Harvest was the working title codename for which Star Trek series?
Discovery?
Correct. The name Soji translates from Japanese as foundation as an homage to which prolific robot fiction writer who also wrote the Foundation series of books?
Isaac Asimov.
Correct. Who was the owner of Desilu Studios, often referred to as Star Trek's godmother?
Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
Correct. In Lower Decks, what class of ship is the USS Cerritos?
Is it California class?
Correct. In Prodigy, what race does Rock Tark belong to?
Pass.
In Voyager, what instrument does Ensign Harry Kim play?
The oboe?
Incorrect, it's the clarinet.
Clarinet, that was
Patrick
close.
Stewart is one of only 2 actors to appear in all 178 Next Generation episodes. Who is the other?
Brent Spiner?
Incorrect, it is Jonathan Frakes.
Fakes. Yeah.
Star Trek canon tells us that the Enterprise A has 23 decks, but how many are shown in the turbolift shaft in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier?
78.
Correct. And who created... I've started, so I'll finish. Who created the Klingon language for the movie Star Trek III: The Search for Spock?
Mark Orkrand.
Correct. And
Originally though, it was James Doohan for the motion picture.
it did indeed. That's why I specified for Star Trek 3. So you're absolutely correct there. You don't get bonus points for that, but you do get some bragging rights there. So with the total of 9 questions answered, you got 2 incorrect and you passed on 1. The one you passed on in Prodigy, Rock Tark is a member of the
Is he Medusan
race.
Okay. Is he the one who's a Medusan?
There is a Medusan on board.
Yeah.
But Rock Tark is the Bricken. So that gives you a total of 6 points for that round. Now let's bring Jeremiah back out of the transporter buffer. Should be joining us in just a second. Here we go. There we are. Jeremiah, that's a double session you've had in the transporter buffer there.
No.
How are you feeling?
Discombobulated.
Okay, well, let's see if we can discombobulate Craig as we send you back into the transporter buffer. Here we go. And he's gone. I think he was about to say something as well. That was rude of me. Jeremiah, are you ready for your general knowledge Star Trek questions?
Yes, I am. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so let's begin. Green Harvest was the working title codename for which Star Trek series?
Voyager.
Incorrect. It was Discovery. The name Soji translates from Japanese as Foundation as an homage to which prolific robot fiction author who also wrote the Foundation series of books?
Isaac Asimov.
Correct. Who was the owner of Desilu Studios, often referred to as Star Trek's godmother?
Desi, it's in the name. Excuse me, didn't swore. Oh my God, pass. I know it, but damn it. God damn it. I know that.
In Lower Decks, what class of ship is the USS Cerritos?
Pass. What the heck? My brain is broken today. This is bad.
In Prodigy, what race does Rok-Tahk belong to?
Pass. Even though I know it.
In Voyager, what instrument does Ensign Harry Kim play?
Clarinet.
Correct. Patrick Stewart is one of only 2 actors to appear in all 178 Next Generation episodes. Who is the other?
Jonathan Frakes.
Correct. Star Trek canon tells us that the Enterprise A, and I've started, so I'll finish. The Enterprise A has 23 decks, but how many are shown in the turbolift shaft in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier?
56.
Incorrect. It was 78.
78. Ridiculous.
So, Jeremiah, you answered 8 questions in total. You passed on 3 and you got 2 incorrect. The 3 you passed on, the owner of Desilu Studios was Lucille Ball. You may
Lucille
kick
Ball.
yourself
I know
now.
Desilu. It's Desi Arnell and Lucille Ball, hence Desilu. Oh my goodness gracious me.
Absolutely. In Lower Decks, the USS Cerritos is a California class.
California class are all in. Those are Californian cities. Yeah.
Indeed, often referred to as a Cali class. And in Prodigy, Rok-Tahk is a Brickar.
Mm.
The
How
Brickar
annoying.
race.
It's just not coming out today. Oh well. The days that have it.
So, Jeremiah, you scored 3 points there. So,
Terrible.
well done for that. Let's bring Craig
Absolutely
back
terrible.
into
Goodness gracious.
Okay, so well done to both of you. We'll recap the scores.
The scores. Yep.
Scores.
Oh, easy for you to say.
It is indeed. We'll recap the scores in just a moment after this quick break. So welcome back to the final of Master Mind Meld, and it's already turning to be quite exciting with our scores so far. But first of all, a big thanks to whoever it was that we stuck an advert in for. Do use that product, service, or government system, whatever it was. Now, at the end of the second round, the general knowledge, Jeremiah, you scored a total of 3 points in that round, putting you on 5.5 points. Craig, however, you scored a whopping 6 points, putting you on 10 points. So that's a 4.5 point that you need to pick up there, Jeremiah. How are you feeling about that?
Not great. I don't think my brain is fully working today, to be honest. But that's just what happens. Yeah, there was a number of questions there which I did know, but for some reason, not in the moment that it was important to know them. Only the moment after they all came out. But yeah, it's not great. I don't think. We'll see. We'll see.
It's being under pressure in that moment makes a world of difference, doesn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can put your feet up for the moment, Jeremiah, because I'm going to be sending you back into the pattern buffer for one last time as we go to the final round. And Craig will be answering questions on your specialist subject, Jeremiah. Would you like to tell Craig what your specialist subject is?
Chief Miles Edward O'Brien.
To be sure.
There we go.
He never says, which is why he's a good character.
We'll pop you back into that pattern buffer, so we will see you again in a moment. So there we are, Craig. Chief Miles Edward O'Brien. How do you feel about that?
Eek.
Okay. Do you think Jeremiah might reclaim a lead at this
I
point?
think you may just.
Right. Well, if you're ready, should we give it a go?
Come on then.
Best of luck to you as we start the final round for 90 seconds, starting now. In which season of The Next Generation do we discover O'Brien's first name is Miles?
Season 4?
Correct. What post was O'Brien initially offered at Starfleet Academy as established in the Deep Space Nine episode What We Leave Behind?
A teacher at the academy.
I will give you that. It's
Engineering.
Professor of Engineering.
Professor of Engineering, yeah.
Miles O'Brien was born in Ireland in the town of Killarney, which is in which county?
Pass.
What was the name of O'Brien's hallucinated cellmate in the Deep Space Nine episode Hard Time?
Oh, pass. Can't remember that now.
What rank did O'Brien hold when he first transferred to the Enterprise D?
He was a chief petty officer.
Correct.
Yeah.
One of O'Brien's ancestors was a Union man who participated in the Pennsylvania coal strike of 1902. What was his full name?
Pass.
According to Captain Picard, which of the Enterprise D transporter rooms was O'Brien's favourite?
It's a transporter room 2.
Incorrect. It was transporter room 3. What musical instrument does Miles play?
Oh, I only seen him do that once. Is it the violin?
Incorrect. It's the cello, and we
Cello,
are out
yeah.
of time. So, having answered 8 questions, you got 2 incorrect, passed on 3, giving you a score of 3 and a grand total of 13. Hopefully, lucky for some. The ones you passed on, Miles O'Brien was born in the town of Killarney, which is in County Kerry.
Right.
O'Brien's hallucinated cellmate in the episode Hard Time was HR.
Yeah.
And his ancestor, the Union man, was Sean Aloysius O'Brien. So there we are. Let's bring Jeremiah back out of that transporter buffer. He should be joining us any moment now. There we are. So there we go. That was an interesting round, to say the least, but we shall say no more as we pop you back into the transporter buffer there, Craig, for the final time. We will see you shortly. There we are. Actually, I'm going to bring Craig straight back out of the transporter room because he didn't tell you. So apologies, Craig. We're bringing you straight back out it again. Before we put you back in, please tell Jeremiah what your specialist subject is.
My specialist subject was the motion pictures 1 through 6.
Okay. Cool.
He'll do
That's
great.
an optimistic look right there. Let's see how Jeremiah does.
Than my one.
As we pop you back into that transporter buffer. Thank you, Craig. Right, yeah, so the movies 1 to 6. How do you feel about that?
Okay, tentatively okay, but we never know how the brain operates under pressure. So we'll see.
Should we find out how it's going to operate?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the very best of luck to you, Jeremiah, for this final round of Master Mind Meld. And we begin now. What unstable matter did David Marcus use in the creation of the... Correct. Which movie contains the only time we hear the line, Scotty beam me up, from Captain Kirk?
Voyage Home.
Correct. René Auberjonois is perhaps best known in Star Trek for portraying Odo in Deep Space Nine, but what was his character's rank
Colonel West.
and name? Correct. In Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, who is the only person on screen to mention Commander Krug's name?
Pass.
Which shuttlecraft lands on Shakari in The Final Frontier?
Galileo 2.
Incorrect, it was Copernicus. In Star Trek V, an Earth probe is destroyed by Klar in command of a Klingon bird of prey as target practice. What was the name of the probe?
The Pioneer.
Would you like to give me a number or leave it at Pioneer?
3.
I'll give you half a point. It was Pioneer 10. In Star Trek The Motion Picture, what was the only prop to have been retained from the original series?
Medical scanner.
Incorrect. It was Uhura's earpiece. In Star Trek 6, whilst traveling aboard the Enterprise to Rora Pente, Uhura communicates with a Klingon listening post in the Klingon language. I've started, so I'll finish. What does she tell them is the name of the freighter they are on?
Oh,
I'm
pass.
going to have to push you.
I can see the scene in my head.
Okay. So, with a total of 8 questions answered, you passed on 2. You got 2 incorrect, and one of them you got half a point. So, the ones you passed on. In Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, the only person on screen to mention Commander Krug's name is Valkyris. And the Klingon ship that Uhura claims they are on in Star Trek 6 is the IKS Ursva.
Okay.
But you scored a total of 3.5 points there, which was absolutely cracking. Well, let's bring Craig back in from the transporter buffer, and we will run our total scores. Now, I need to. I've got far too many pieces of paper now, so that's 4.5 plus 3.5. Okay.
Carry the 2.
So yeah, something like that. So our final scores are in, but to both of you, how do you feel having done this?
Good. I mean, frustrated because of this last the general knowledge round. I should have done much better at. There was a question repeated in the second Miles O'Brien from the first time I did it, which was Parada, which I had read this morning and instantly forgot. So frustrated at my mind. But apart from that, it was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And Craig?
I'm just amazed out here.
Well, would you both do it again? This is
yeah, just for giggles, yeah. Realize how much Trek knowledge is actually shoved up there in the little noggin.
Well, I mean, you both did absolutely fantastic, and you both deserve a massive round of applause. But our scores are in that last round. Craig, you scored 3 points. Jeremiah, you scored 3.5, which means that with a total of 9 for Jeremiah and 13 points for Craig, you are the Master Mind Melder. Can I say for season 1? There might not
For
be a
season
2,
1.
but but very, very well done to both of you and to all our contestants. It's been a huge amount of fun doing this. Hopefully you've both had fun doing it. It sounds like you have.
Yep. Well done, Jeremiah, mate.
Well done. Well done on that ridiculous. I mean, the movies was a much easier subject than Chief O'Brien, I think.
Oh yeah.
Very specific. What was the name of his spider?
Fantastic. So hopefully we'll see you on other future broadcasts. Watch this space. But before we go, as our crowned winner, Craig, do you have a message for the viewers?
Keep on trekking and get yourself excited, ready for the next season of Strange New Worlds. and I'm actually starting to get excited for Academy now, looking at the casting.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Section 31? You never mentioned that.
Yeah, that's the trailer. Me and you've had conversations about this before, because
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of almost wholly unnecessary. But seeing the trailer and how much fun this could be, I'm on board.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Are you looking forward to those as well, Jeremiah?
I'm looking forward to the next season of Strange New Worlds. That trailer for Section 31, I'm not entirely sure about, but I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'm excited by the fact that it's set during the Lost era, apparently, with Rachel Garrett. Although it doesn't look like it is, but we'll see. I want some burgundy. Give me some burgundy uniforms.
Get the Monster Maroon out. We miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
The update was very good in Strange New Worlds. That's the version of the Monster Maroon that I've got. Well, I'm a great believer that even bad Trek is good Trek, except for the very short treks. They can just jump in a volcano. It works. But apart from that, so on that cheerful note, yes.
On that swearing note, behave yourself. You don't want to get an explicit rating.
It's a new Trek. I mean, he's in the new Trek uniform. He can swear all he likes.
Absolutely. Right. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you've all enjoyed this. Throw your comments in below if you think that Craig's win was well deserved, or if it wasn't. Do tell us, and we'll pass that on. And yeah, watch out for new stuff coming to Hailing Frequencies in the near future. In the meantime, remember, you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. And live long and prosper. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Take care.